Hello and welcome to ForumIAS. Today we are going to see the news analysis of 6th January 2023. These are the articles that we'll be seeing today. Their relevance for prelims as well as mains examination are mentioned below. Now we will move on to the first article of the day. The first article is about census. Decennial census put off till September to freeze boundaries. Decennial census means census which takes place once in every 10 years. So this census exercise has been postponed till September and central government has informed the states. This is because the central government has asked the states to freeze the administrative boundaries. What are these administrative boundaries? The boundaries of districts, sub-districts, tehsils, talukas, police stations. So, central government has asked the states to freeze the administrative boundaries, and the last date for doing this exercise is June 30. And according to rules, census can be conducted only 3 months after this boundaries are freezed. So if the boundaries are freezed in June 30, July, August, September, from October 1st only the census can be conducted. But the government hasn't said anything about when the census will begin. It is just sending notification to the states to freeze the administrative boundaries. This is there in the first page of the newspaper. Now we will go into the background. So basically there are two phases of census. First phase is house listing and housing census plus updation of National Population Register NPR. Then we have the second phase in which the actual population enumeration takes place. Now, what is the speciality of the upcoming census? For the first time, the upcoming census is going to be held in both digital mode as well as through paper schedules. If we go into the history of census, 1872 was the first census that was conducted. This was obviously during the British rule. Census is conducted under the aegis of Office of the Registrar General and Census Commissioner of India under Ministry of Home Affairs. So the Registrar General, he becomes the ex officio Census Commissioner. What is ex officio? By way of holding the post of Registrar General, the Registrar General also becomes the Census Commissioner of India. Why? Because census is held only once in 10 years. He will always be Registrar General. He becomes Census Commissioner only when the census is conducted. Next, census is conducted through the provisions of Census Act of 1948. The act provides a plan for conducting population census, and it also lists down the duties and responsibilities of census officers. What is basically a population census? It involves all these steps, that is collection, compilation, analysis, dissemination. So right from collection of data to compiling it neatly and then analyzing that data and finally releasing it for public consumption. All these steps are included in the process of population census. So we talked about collection, compilation, analysis and dissemination of data. What data? Demographic and socio-economic data. The upcoming census will be 16th census to be held in the history of India, and in post-independent India, census was never postponed. Only census 2021 was postponed due to COVID. And another important thing to note is census 2021 will not enumerate caste. It is not a socio-economic caste census. 2011 census had an element of socio-economic caste census which will not be there in the upcoming census. Now, when this census will happen, it is quite a bit unclear because next year we also have the general election, and the census process itself takes 11 months, and election is also coming. In this juncture, it is a little bit unclear when it will take place. Nevertheless, the central government has sent this notification for states to freeze the administrative boundaries. Next article is from environment section. It says that Asian elephant has lost most of its optimal habitat in Nilgiri Reserve. We know where Nilgiri Reserve is. It is in the Western Ghats. It covers the state of Tamil Nadu and parts of Kerala. Now, from this news article, they have discussed about optimal habitat and suboptimal habitat. Optimal habitat is flat terrain that is easily negotiable. Flat terrain that is easily negotiable means elephants being big animals, flat terrain is easily negotiable for them. They can easily travel through flat terrain. And what is suboptimal habitat? Human settlements and crop cultivation, it has led to loss of this optimal habitat. Now the flat terrain is occupied by humans. There are settlements as well as agricultural lands. So this optimal habitat is lost, and as a result of it, elephants are restricted to suboptimal habitat, which is the hilly terrain. So if the elephants have to be in the flat terrain, they are now restricted to the hilly terrain because this flat terrain is getting occupied by human beings for their settlement as well as cultivation purposes. What are the concerns? This is happening. What consequences does this lead to? First of all, hilly terrain is dangerous for animals of this size. As we know, elephants are massive animals, and hilly terrain is little bit difficult for them to maneuver. That is the first thing. Second thing is that their movement is blocked. Their habitat gets fragmented. There is a hill, then we have a human settlement, and then there is another hill. So their movement gets restricted. They can't pass through this human settlement. Because their movement is blocked, their gene flow is reduced. This is because they are not able to interact with elephant population in another hill. So gene flow is reduced, and this leads to extinction. When gene flow is reduced, there is heavy inbreeding. And because of inbreeding, they breed among themselves, there is no intermixing of genes. And because of this, there will be low genetic diversity. If there is low genetic diversity, there is increased chances of disease among this elephant population, and there is increased fatality rate. Fatality rate is increased death rate. And as a result of this inbreeding and low genetic diversity, fertility rate also reduces. All these factors lead to extinction. It increases the extinction risk of elephants. Already we know that Asian elephants are in endangered status. Now, what is the solution for this? The solution for this is creation of wildlife corridors so that elephants are able to move across habitats, and there is proper intermixing of genes, and there is a healthy elephant population. This might be asked in mains, but more pertinent information here is from the prelims point of view. There has been question that was asked on elephant, and elephant is one of the important species. There is also project elephant. It is a major animal. So we will see some background facts. First of all, the IUCN status of elephant is endangered. The gestation period, that is the period for which the elephant is pregnant, that is the gestation period. Gestation period is 22 months. Now, this article talks about Asian elephant. Naturally, there is a curiosity. What is the difference between Asian elephant and African elephant? Asian elephants have smaller ears compared to African elephants. And if we come to India, there are 33 elephant reserves, and the latest addition is the 33rd elephant reserve is Tarai Elephant Reserve, and it is at Dudhwa Pilibhit Forest in Uttar Pradesh. In India, highest number of elephant reserves are there in Assam and Tamil Nadu. Both these states have 5 elephant reserves each. These are the elephant range states: Andhra Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Karnataka, Kerala, Maharashtra, Meghalaya, Nagaland, Odisha, Tamil Nadu, Tripura, Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, and West Bengal. So if we see, it is just an alphabet soup, but we'll make logical sense of it. If we see in South India, we have first thing Kerala, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, and Tamil Nadu. Now move a little bit north, we have Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand. And then if we move to eastern India, we have West Bengal, Tripura, Meghalaya, Nagaland, Assam, Arunachal Pradesh. So almost most of the northeastern states are covered. Further, from northeastern India, if we come to northern India, we have elephants in Uttarakhand and Uttar Pradesh. So till Uttarakhand, elephants are found. Okay. This might be asked in MCQ, wherein you are asked to choose elephant range states. There might be a list of states given, and you might have to choose the states in which elephants are found. For example, if there is Himachal Pradesh in the option, you should eliminate it. Next, this is an editorial about India-Nepal relations. Now, why this editorial came in the first place? It is because of formation of new government in Nepal with Pushpakamal Dahal Prachanda at the helm. He is the new head of state of Nepal. Now, what implications does this development have? Recently, elections were held in Nepal, the results came out, and the government was formed. What is the meaning of election results? We all know earlier Nepal was a Hindu monarchy. Now it has become a secular republic, meaning the head of state will be chosen by the people. So what is the meaning of this election result? It means there is a peaceful mainstreaming of the Maoist movement into the democratic structure. This person, Pushpa Kamal Dahal Prachanda, he was once in Maoist ranks, and now he is becoming the PM of the state, which shows how there is a peaceful mainstreaming of the Maoist movement into democratic structure. Integration of guerrillas into Nepal army. Those people who were as a part of Maoist movement engaged in guerrilla warfare, now they have been inducted into Nepal army. Then there is a transfer of power, adoption of a new constitution, and now a federal structure has emerged. So this much meaning is there behind the recently held elections. Now what is the point of concern here? Though as far as current status is concerned, there is a government that is formed, but it is a hung parliament, and if it is a hung parliament, it gives rise to political instability in Nepal. Now, this government has been formed. What is the implication for India? That is very important to us. From our point of view, how is India's national interest going to be affected? That is the point of discussion here. And India has neighborhood first policy. That way also the political development in Nepal and the future of India-Nepal relations becomes important for us. Okay. So now the new government is formed by a coalition between Communist Party of Nepal and Unified Marxist-Leninist Party. So if you see, both of these parties are communist parties, they are left-wing. So if you see, the left-wing parties have reunited. That means China has a upper hand. This is seen as a success for China and a detriment for India. If it is a communist government, they are more pliable to the whims of a communist state, China. But is it so? The authors of this article are saying no, it's not the case. We still have hope. We'll see the future of India-Nepal relations. Moving on. India, it will not be affected to a great extent because we have immense experience in dealing with political instability in Nepal. And what way India is different from China when dealing with Nepal? It is different in the way that India has non-partisan support for inclusive economic development. India focuses on people-to-people contacts. India focuses on mutual benefit. India focuses on having a non-exploitatory arrangement with whichever countries it is dealing with. So, India stresses on interdependence. India stresses on communication links, and then people to people contacts, building on the compulsive logic of economic complementarities. That means so many Nepalis, because we have an open border with Nepal, so many Nepalis come and work in India. There is a kind of economic complementarity. We need workforce, we get workforce from Nepal. Nepal needs money, remittances go from India to Nepal. That is economic complementarities. And there is hydropower. Nepal has a huge potential for hydropower because so many Himalayan rivers originate from Nepal. We also have seen previously about the Pancheshwar multipurpose project, etc., that was implemented by India in Nepal. That is one example. And there is obvious linkage of history, geography, culture, religion, economy. In 2020, I think the then minister Shri Rajnath Singh, he spoke about Roti Beti Ka Rishta with Nepal. That much is the cultural fusion and historical fusion between India and Nepal, which China can never replicate. That is a natural advantage of India. And also, the authors of this article say that whether it is a communist government or any other government, whether they have a pro-India stance or anti-India stance, they will always have a pursuit of power. That would be their main motive rather than being ideologically sincere. So that way, in the pursuit of power, they will do things that are good for their power, and that way India can capitalize this to our national interest. And also, public opinion in Nepal is slowly turning against China. There is increased awareness about debt trap diplomacy of China and the consequences caused by COVID. So there is a change in public opinion. So there has been some problems in India-Nepal relations. That is 1950 India-Nepal Friendship Treaty. It is accused to be a one-sided treaty which favors India, and there have been border issues. We have seen about the Kala Pani issue. These are some of the irritants in India-Nepal relations, and the authors are calling for a good resolution of these issues. And finally, the way forward is to have mutual empathy. The Nepalis want Indian respect for Nepali identity. They don't want to be dealt as like a vassal state. And India also wants respect from Nepal in terms of being a benevolent neighbor. If there is this mutual empathy, there is a good future for India-Nepal relations. So that is India-Nepal relations. We will move to the next article. It is about the Parasnath Projects. The issue is that the Jain community has been protesting wherever they are. Jain community has been protesting against turning this Parasnath hills into a tourist spot. There have been vehement opposition from the Jain community. So this region is there in the Parasnath Wildlife Sanctuary. in Jharkhand. This Parasnath Wildlife Sanctuary and thereby the Parasnath Hills, they have been declared as eco-sensitive zone in 2019. Now, this notification has been withdrawn by the center owing to these protests. This is the current news. Now we will go into the background. There are two things we have to study from exam point of view. One is about eco-sensitive zone, that is useful for GS Prelims environment section, and another one is about the Parasnath temple, that is important from art and culture prelims perspective. First we will see eco-sensitive zone. Eco-sensitive zone is declared through the legal provisions of the Environment Protection Act of 1986. What is a eco-sensitive zone? It is the buffer zone surrounding a protected area. A protected area is a wildlife sanctuary or a national park. The area surrounding this protected area is called a eco-sensitive zone. So in a protected area, what is the difference between a protected area and an eco-sensitive zone? Inside a protected area, there are almost no activities. It is specifically for conservation. But in eco-sensitive zones, tourism is even allowed, provided whatever activities are permissible, a master plan containing that should be given to the center by the state government concerned. So in protected area, no activities are permitted, almost none. In eco-sensitive zone, even tourism is promoted. So the Jain community is worried that if this area is declared as a if this area is declared as a eco-sensitive zone, the sanctity of the temple will be marked, because if there is tourism, there would be food, liquor, etc., and that would affect the sanctity of the temple. This is the contestation of the Jain community. So here if you see, food, loud music, unauthorized camping and trekking, drugs, non-veg, liquor, defiling of religious sites, disturbing natural tranquility, all these things will be happening, and that is why the Jain community is opposed to that. So this temple is located in Sammed Shikhar. Now we will see some facts about the temple. So this temple is named after Parasnath, who is the 23rd Jain Tirthankar. 20 of the 24, there are totally 24 Tirthankars. 20 of those Tirthankars have attained salvation on this hill. That is why this hill is very important for Jains. And for each of these 20 Tirthankars, there is a shrine on the hill. The Santhal tribes call it Marang Buru, the hill of the deity, and this Santhal tribe, they celebrate a hunting festival on the full moon day in Baisakh, that is mid-April. So we have covered this article from environment as well as culture point of view. Moving on to the last article of the day, UGC unveils draft norms to allow foreign universities to set up campuses in India. Now, who is eligible? A foreign university with a rank among the top 500 global ranking, a foreign educational institution of repute in their home jurisdiction, they can apply to UGC to set up a campus in India. So, when a foreign university applies to UGC, they will be given approval within 90 days. So this 90-day period is divided into two 45-day period. Initial 45 days, what will happen is there will be a standing committee under the UGC. They will consider the application of this university and they will submit the recommendations within 45 days of application. They will see how much the institution is having credibility, what are the programs they are going to offer, how well they can foster the educational opportunities in India, what is their academic infrastructure. So this standing committee will go through all these claims made by that institution, and within 45 days they will submit a report to UGC, and after reception of this report, 45 days within the reception of this report from the standing committee, UGC may grant an in principle approval to the foreign institution. So this approval will be valid for 2 years. Within 2 years they have to set up their shop, and this approval, that is the license to run the institution, will be valid for 10 years. So this 2 years, within this 2 years you have to set up shop, and the license will be valid for 10 years. Later it will be extended. That is the difference between these two duration. So if foreign universities have to come to India, they will be offered some incentives. What are the incentives given to foreign universities? They can have their own admission process. They can have their own admission criteria to admit domestic as well as foreign students. And these universities will have autonomy to decide its fee structure. For Indian institutions, there is a higher limit on how much fees they can collect. But these foreign universities will have no cap that are imposed on Indian institutions, but then they can't have exorbitant fees. It should be reasonable and the fee structure should be transparent. Next, they will have autonomy to recruit faculty as well as non-teaching staff, and they can recruit from India as well as from abroad, and they will be allowed to have cross-border movement of funds. They can maintain foreign currency accounts, and but then this will be under the FEMA Act, Foreign Exchange Management Act. What are some of the conditions that are imposed on these universities? If there are these many benefits that are given, there are some concomitant conditions that are imposed on them. They should be only brick and mortar institution, meaning they can't just give an online course, a distance learning course and be done with that. It should be a proper university in which proper classes happen, and whatever qualification they award to Indian students in their India campus should be equivalent to the degree that they give in their home jurisdiction. It's not that the degree that is obtained in India is of a lower value. And then these institutions will have to submit their audit report to UGC. Now, this is what the article says. Now, we will see the analysis. What are the pros of foreign universities coming into India? As we know already, no single Indian university is in top 100 global rankings. The next thing is reduction in flight of capital. That is, if an Indian student goes to the US for higher education, obviously there will be some capital that is going out of our country. This will be prevented if foreign universities are allowed in India. We can even mitigate brain drain. How? A student goes to the US to study, they'll get a job there, they'll settle there. But instead, if there is a foreign university in India, they'll study here and they can positively contribute to our own country. It can even lead to reverse brain drain. How? Researchers from various countries can come and work in India if these foreign universities open their branches in India. Then Indian universities will also become competitive. There will be a positive competition. Internationalization. Even Malaysia and China have done that. So students from other parts of the world also come to Malaysia to study in these foreign universities. So that way we can also gain some foreign capital, and India will become an international hub for education. Finally, there will be improved opportunities for researchers. We already saw that there will be reverse brain drain also, that is possible. Even more so, even foreign researchers can come to India and work here. What are the cons? There will be some opacity because these universities are given so much leeway that what is their admission criteria, how are they going to set up their fee structure, there will be some level of opacity. And there will be, how will the social justice agenda be forwarded? Because now we have reservation in higher education, but then foreign universities can set up their own admission criteria, so there cannot be reservation, right? How will the social justice agenda go forward? That is one of the con. And there will be reverse discrimination of Indian universities because they are given so much leeway, but Indian universities will be put into severe restriction from UGC. Then there is no parity and it will lead to reverse discrimination of Indian universities. This is one of the criticism. And there will also be culture shock. The culture of a foreign university is entirely different. It will lead to globalization of Indian culture and localization of Indian culture. There will be culture shock, like there can be prom, all these things might be there. So it will be a culture shock. And the next thing is affordability. Can a middle class person afford this kind of education? Because these universities are allowed to have their own fee structure. Now, seeing this pros and cons, what is the final way forward? There should be a knowledge sharing partnership with Indian universities so that there is a win-win for both foreign as well as Indian universities. Now we will see some model questions. Okay, so this is about elephant and this question was asked in prelims 2020. Let's go into the question. With reference to Indian elephants, consider the following statements. 1. Leader of an elephant group is female. 2. The maximum gestation period can be 22 months. 3. An elephant can normally go on calving till the age of 40 years only. Among the states in India, the highest elephant population is in Kerala. Which of the statements given above is or correct? We already saw in our analysis that the gestation period is 22 months. So obviously option C and option D are eliminated. Now we are left with option A and option B. Option A says that statement 1 is correct and option B says that statement 4 is correct. Among the states in India, the highest elephant population is in Kerala. This is wrong. Highest elephant population is in the state of Karnataka. So, statement 1 is correct and the answer is A. Now, coming to the second question. This question was asked in UPSC Prelims 2014. With reference to eco-sensitive zones, which of the following statements is or are correct? Eco-sensitive zones are the areas that are declared under Wildlife Protection Act 1972. The purpose of the declaration of eco-sensitive zones is to prohibit all kinds of human activities in those zones except agriculture. Select the correct answer. Now we already saw eco-sensitive zone are declared under Environment Protection Act and not Wildlife Protection Act. So this statement is wrong. Purpose of declaration, we already saw this eco-sensitive zone in the context of tourism. Now it says that it prohibits all kinds of human activities in those zones except agriculture, which is not true. We know that tourism is allowed. So the correct answer is both the statements are incorrect and they are asking for correct statement. Answer is D, neither 1 nor 2. And finally, a mains question. The establishment of foreign university branch campuses in India would be beneficial. It is worthwhile to look at the experience of other countries for both positive and negative lessons. Examine the statement. We already saw, I mentioned about Malaysia and China having done that. We saw the pros and cons. I think you might be able to write an answer. Practice this answer at home. We are coming to the end of this analysis. This is Indumati signing off. These are our socials. Follow us on these mediums. Like, share, comment and subscribe to ForumIAS. Thank you.